Hi, this is John Taylor at the Ethos Innovation Center, and welcome to One Degree of Sky Time. I get different questions from people about astronomy, and the one that came up was, how can I get my son or daughter excited about astronomy? Well, the first thing is take them outside, right? We all know to do that. I look up in the sky. I'll bring up stellarium here so we can take a look at our sky, and I'm not sure what happened there. We were in someplace else in the world. But we are in northern Indiana, and I'm going to look south, and this is true for anybody in the northern hemisphere. That if we were to back up the sky tonight a little bit, which I'm going to do here, let the sun come to a setting point, and we look at the sky, we'll see a couple things happening here. Jupiter and Saturn are coming out of the east, about halfway across the sky, looking south, and then head to the west. If you're in the southern hemisphere down in Australia, it'd be just kind of the opposite. It would still come up in the east, and the halfway split would be to the north, and then it would go down to the west. So I'll take it here from northern Indiana. We're going to see these two bright objects come out, and you can ask your son or daughter, "What are those?" And they'll say, "Stars." Moon happy joining them here, but it'll be moving across their path. But they're not going to move much. They're going to stay in that place right there. Things that go from the east about halfway to the west in northern Indiana and North America, those are planets, generally speaking. They're very bright. And these are two very bright, very large objects. Jupiter is about 5 times farther than we are from the sun, and Jupiter about 10. So let's get into the darkness here. And let's talk about what you're going to see tonight if you were looking at those. So if I was looking towards Jupiter and started to zoom in here, a pair of binoculars is all you would need to start to see some details. So again, I'm using Stellarium, a free program, great one to download onto your phones also. And as I come in towards Jupiter, let's center that again, you're going to see some objects come up in about a perfect line through it. And usually they don't look so blobby. Usually they're very pinpoint. And these are not stars. These are actually the moons of Jupiter. Believe it or not, with a pair of binoculars, you can catch the moons of Jupiter. And if you keep coming in, have a cheap telescope, and you're going to start to see a little more than just these moons. You'll see their separation. And what's fun about looking at Jupiter is that through a night, come back an hour later, there'll be different positions. They move very quickly. You may see three instead of four because one's hiding in front or behind a Jupiter. And if you have a nice telescope where you can really zoom in, you'll start to see the dust lanes. And the higher the power, the more details you see, which you might see the red spot coming across, which is an awesome sight. So zoom back out and look at the other extremely bright object in the sky, Saturn. And it's going to look so bright, a little tannish in color, not as bright as Jupiter. But as we do bring in some binoculars on it, we're going to notice that a little bit of a shape is going to come out to it. With a pair of binoculars, you tend to get a blurry looking UFO shape. The rings on the side will start to give it a bit of an oval. Now we're seeing moons pop out here too. That's very fascinating. But also you can see a little bit of separation between the ring and the planet, and you won't see that with binoculars. It'll be one big blur. But with a higher powered telescope, you can see the rings, and their tilt will change. It'll change depending on its position and our position. So two very fun objects to look at in the evening. Get your son or daughter excited that they can actually see these things and watch them night after night throughout the fall. They're going to be out for the fall of 2020 for quite a while. We are Ethos Innovation Center. I want to thank you for joining me for 1 Degree of Sky Time. If you enjoy this time, I encourage you to check out our YouTube channel where we have science stories. Lisa Nyers does a fantastic job. I'll move myself out of the way. And we're getting a collection of stories read by her and her guest readers. Also, a shout out to the Michigan Astronomical Society, who do a fantastic job getting people out to look through their enormous telescopes in various areas around northern Indiana and southern Michigan. Also, NITARP is a fantastic program for working with teachers doing research through Caltech. If you look at participants here and you see a teacher you recognize, reach out to them. They're fantastic for explaining astronomy. Thank you again for joining me, and this has been 1 Degree of Sky Time.